This video is long overdue, and it's all about automating your social media with AI. I'm going to start by showing you really simple workflows, 2-module scenarios that are meant to do things like post images regularly or tweet regularly. Then I'm going to go into more complicated things that will allow you to post text, images, links, and things like that. And then I'm going to finish with what I call my social media magic wand. This is an automation that allows you to blast posts to as many platforms as you want at the same time. Head on over to your make.com account. I've got a link in the description. If you haven't already signed up, thank you for using my link. It helps me keep making these videos. So you're going to create a new scenario. For those who want to start from a template, I've got some easily downloadable templates down in the description. I'm going to show you how to build it out completely, but if you're like me and you're lazy and you just want to start from a template, I hooked you up. First one that I'm going to show you is, I call it a simple image blaster. It's just 2 modules. We have an OpenAI DALL-E module that generates the image and it spits it over to your Facebook page. Can't get more simple than that. To get started, click on the starting plus sign and you'll want to find your OpenAI module. If it's not already in a list, you'll just type it in a search. And the one we want to use, I don't see it right in this list, so I'm going to click the top. And now I see every module that's available for OpenAI, and we want to use generate an image. If you have not already set up your connection to OpenAI, you'll need to go ahead and do that. If you don't have an OpenAI account yet, you'll need to sign up for one. If your OpenAI module is already connected and set up and you don't need to go sign up, go ahead and skip to 3 minutes and 45 seconds. If you don't have an account with OpenAI, you will have to head on over to the OpenAI website, not openai.com, but rather platform.openai.com. Once you have created your account and you are logged in, you'll be in the developers area. And what you'll want to do is click on the little gear right here, and this takes you to the screen that you might be familiar with. We have billing right here. You'll want to make sure to connect your payment card. They no longer charge your credit card periodically. They want you to top up. So you top up your balance. Once you've got your balance topped up, then we need to get your API key. You'll go to your profile. You'll go to user API keys, and you will create a new secret key. You'll only be able to copy paste that key once, so make sure you grab it. And once you have that key, you'll want to go back over to your Make account. And when you're setting up your module, it's going to ask you for the API key. It's also going to ask you for your organization ID. So let's go back over here and you click on organization and it gives you your organization ID. You copy paste both your organization ID and your API key. That establishes your connection and you're ready to rock. Once you've connected your module, then you might need to do the same thing with Facebook if you're new to this. When we go to add our next module, you click on this little nub on the edge of OpenAI. That'll open another Flyout Plus, and then you'll want to add your Facebook Pages module. Specifically, you want to add upload a photo. So let's find that. There it is. Nope, that's video. Upload a photo. Select that one. If you're new to this, Facebook is an integrated authentication experience. So just like Google, Instagram, all the other things where you can kind of sign on different platforms, you only have to sign in. You don't need your API key. Get your Facebook set up and you'll want to open up your DALL-E module. You get the option to choose between DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3. The primary difference is that DALL-E 2 is cheaper, but it's also not as good of an image generator. It also might not accept a prompt as long as the one that I've made here. So I use DALL-E 3, pretty much all that I use now. Scrolling down, you have the option to select your size. You can do square, which is the default, or you have landscape, or wait, I think that's vertical and that's landscape. One or the other. I forget which is first on the dimension list. Then we have standard or HD. I always use HD, but that's totally up to you. The difference, again, is the cost of producing the image. Something like 2 cents versus 5 cents, something like that. Style, vivid or natural. And then you have the choice of returning a URL response or an image file response. This is an important little setting, and I'll show you why on my magic wand later in the video. Some modules only work with the actual image file. Other modules want a URL, and they're not consistent, unfortunately. I'm using an image file. It's going to return an image file response. Facebook will work with either one. When you open up your Facebook module, you're going to want to select the page that you want to publish to. I'm publishing to the page that I made for this purpose, which is Imagine Better Futures, but it will list all of your Facebook pages there. Make sure you're publishing to the intended page. And then you can select your album, which is any album that you've created on Facebook. I'm just going to select my timeline photos. I'm going to select File as the format. You're set up and ready to go. If you wish to add a message to your Facebook posts, you would do it here. So blah, 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 message. I'm literally going to leave that just for fun. And let's see what's going to happen when I blast this out. Save. You can set this to post however frequently you want. You don't have to go every 15 minutes. Let's blast it. The process was a success. Let's check out the content that it created. So here's my Facebook page. Let's give it a little refresh. And there we go, posted just now along with my pretty string of characters. There we go, a nice future city posted to my Facebook. I think that can be used creatively. Sometimes just blast an image with no caption, no hashtags, nothing. Be mysterious, however you want to do it. But most people are going to want to add some kind of text and some hashtags to their Facebook post. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But before we move on to bigger workflows, let's create an auto tweeter. I'm going to create a new scenario. And for this one, instead of an image, we are going to use text, create a completion, model. This is totally optional. The most advanced stuff is 4.0. I'm going to choose 3.5 Turbo just to be cheap today. And for my messages, I'm going to do assistant, message content. And this is where I'm going to instruct it to create a tweet. I'm going to say you're a social media manager whose task is to create stupid sounding tweets that make people wonder if the account owner is stoned. Don't use any more than 270 characters in your tweet and include several hashtags at the end separated by spaces, no commas, no bullets, no numbers, and do not use ampersand, use and instead. Then for tokens, because I have a free Twitter account and I'm limited to 280 characters, I'm going to put in 270. And the only reason I'm going a little bit lower, sometimes when I've asked for 280 output, I've gotten a returned result saying that it's too many characters. So apparently it can go over by a little. I haven't had any trouble with 270 though. Show advanced settings. I don't believe there's anything I need. Nope, that's just temperature, top, and number, which all stay set to 1. Then we're going to add Twitter, X, and we are going to create a post. To establish your Twitter connection, you're going to need your client ID and client secret, and that is found at developer.x.com. If you don't already have an account there, you'll need to create one. Once you have signed in to the developer platform, you click on Developer Portal, and that takes you to your developer screen. You'll have to create a new project, and then once you've created the project, scroll down to the bottom. That's where you find the OAuth 2 settings that you will need for Make. Copy those, copy them into here, get yourself set up, and then once you have the module going, there's really only one option, and that is we're going to map our text completion content. There we go. All right, so let's see the results, save that, and let's run the process. Boom, that was fast. So let me check out what it put over here. Just saw a squirrel practicing yoga in the park. Namaste, my furry friend. I mean, that is kind of stoner. It's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard, though. Now let's continue on. I'm going to go over to my socials. And I've got Facebook Advanced AI Image Blaster. This scenario is where we start to have some real fun. This time, if you're starting from scratch, you're going to select Create a Completion OpenAI Module template. Or you can grab my template down below, it's a freebie. And right here, we are going to make sure it's chat completion. GPT-4o Mini is my favorite. It's a little bit less expensive than using 4 Turbo, but it's totally your choice what you want to use. For role, I've selected Assistant. Your options are System and User. I use Assistant because that's the normal mode of using your chat as a virtual assistant. Message content. This is where I got a little creative. Instead of feeding my image prompt directly into DALL-E like I did in the last example, I'm telling it to come up with a prompt for me. Believe it or not, AI is better at prompting itself for images than we are. So a lot of the software out there, I don't know if you've noticed, if you use image generators, sometimes you'll type in a prompt and when you send it off, it'll immediately come back with a better prompt, much more highly detailed, and that's what it fires into your AI. This is me recreating that. Or I'm telling ChatGPT to come up with a better prompt than what I would. I'm using a smaller version of the prompt. It returns a much longer version of the prompt, and that's what we feed into the next module. I'm going to scroll down. Max tokens is set to 500. Tokens can be thought of as characters. So I'm saying, hey, give me this prompt, but don't go over 500 characters. Temperature can be thought of as creativity if you haven't encountered this before. 1 means I want it to give me what my prompt specifies. Anything beyond 1 and you're basically giving it the creative license to do what it wants. You probably won't get the results that you want that way. Top P, not even really sure what that is, but it's always set to 1, as is number. There is no frequency penalty or anything else. Everything else is just a default setting. Oh, and you won't see any of that if you're not viewing the advanced settings. You'll need to open the advanced settings to view the entire module. So the output from that module flows into yet another chat completion, and this one here is set up basically the same way. I've limited the tokens at 32 because I'm trying to generate a title for the name of the image later on, what we're going to use when we're sending it different places. So for here, I've said come up with a good photograph title for the photograph that will be created by this prompt, and I'm going to map the output from this module. So what happens is every time we run a process, you will get an output, and we can view that, and I'll show you how to view the output here in a second, but we need to map it. To map it, if you click down in any field, you'll get this flyout window, and we've got to drill down to choices, message, and content. And you can see it written here. Last time I ran the process, it's leaving me. You won't see anything there if you've never run this before, but I see the last one, the prompt for DALL-E. We select content, and it places the appropriate items there so that it's going to then use that in generating a title. Next, it flows into the image generator module. The image generator module, instead of feeding the prompt in directly like we did in my first example, it is mapping to the output of this module. And I've done that the same way. I've just made sure to select it, and then I come over here, choices, message, content, and it grabs the prompt. So let me run this real quick so you can see an example of returned output and how to view it. Save, run. And I'm going to stop it before it goes through the whole process. See how on top of the modules we have these little values right here? It has returned a response. Click right there and we see our input and our output. Our output will tell us what has come out of this module. So if I drill down under output, choices, message, content, a lot of drilling. There we go. Now I can see the entire prompt, and this is what it's passing over to my other modules. See how much longer that is and how much more detailed that prompt is than the little chunk that I gave it. Then we can see right here. Let's go to the output of the title. Same deal, drill down to the same spot. And title, Horizon of Harmony, A Future Unveiled. Might need to negative prompt it if you guys don't know or haven't seen my other videos, it likes to use the word unveiling quite a bit for some reason. We've arrived at the last OpenAI module in the series, and it's going to be another chat completion. And this one is where the social media post happens. Everything's the same, role is still assistant. And right here, we're going to do something a little bit different. You'll see that I've defined the role again. And what I'm saying here is you are a social media manager that crafts engaging and award-winning content guaranteed to go viral. You are responsible for creating social media posts for your stunning future sustainable city landscape concept photography created by AI. Whew. That's a mouthful. Your task is to write an SEO-friendly Facebook post in the best format for that platform and base your content on this, and then it drops the prompt in there so that it can build a post off of the prompt it used to generate the photo. Your posts must be easy to read and in a professional tone. Please do not repeat instructions. Do not remember previous instructions. Do not apologize. Do not refer to yourself at any time. Do not make any assumptions. Do not specify the name of the photography company. Over time, that little negative prompt list came about because I would hit results that I didn't want, and essentially that's the best way to handle it. You just tell the AI not to do what you do not want to happen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You'll have to continually refine if you're getting output that you don't like. And my last little negative prompting snippet, use the word "and" instead of the ampersand sign. Separate the hashtags with spaces, no commas, no bullets, no numbers. This keeps it clean and it keeps it nice. Ampersands have a nasty tendency of causing your process to fail. So the next phase of this, what if you want to drop in a different social media platform? We are now finished with the OpenAI modules and we're going to add a Facebook module. This time, you're going to want to add create a post with photos. And once you've got your module selected, you will set everything up basically the same, and the main difference is we are now going to add a caption and a message, which is going to be retrieving our output from two of our modules before. So for the caption, I'm going to use the title that I generated with this module right here. I map to that, and then for the message, I am choosing the social media post, which is the output from right here. Once you've got those set up and selected, you are ready to go. There's really not any more advanced settings for the Facebook. And then this is totally optional. I have set up a Google Photos to take the photo as the last step in the series. You don't have to do this. Facebook is storing your image and you can retrieve it there. But if you do want to load your photo to Google Photos or something like that, here's how you're going to do it. If you're searching for Google Photos, the module you're going to select is the Upload a Media Item module. It's really simple. You'll connect your Google Photos, a simple sign-in, and then you select the file and you choose the album that is on your in your Google Photos. Let's take this scenario for a spin and see what our output looks like. The process has completed. Let's boogie on over to my Facebook page and give her a refresh. And let's see what the content looks like now. There we go. Just now, a completely new post. And look at that, formatted very well, several paragraphs. I've got my hashtags formatted just like I like them. We've got our complete post, beautiful, ready to go. Now let's pop on over to Google Photos. Let me refresh there. And there we go. There's my photo in my Google Photo library. All right, so now let's say we want to post to a different social media platform. I've saved all of these modules up top. They're disconnected from the main scenario process, but they are pre-configured and ready to drop in to the social media slot. So I'm going to unlink Facebook, put it up here for later, and then we're going to drop in LinkedIn and connect them. Open up my LinkedIn module, and it's pretty much ready to go. If you're going from scratch, what you're going to want to do is create an organization image post. Currently, there's no way to load a post directly to your main profile, so it's kind of like Facebook in that respect. You have to have a business created on LinkedIn, and then you can load to that. Select your file. Where it has title, I dropped in the mapping for the title module, and then I dropped in the mapping for the social media post module. Ooh, and while I'm thinking of that, I've already changed this, but you need to be mindful. Come in here and you might want to change where it says SEO friendly Facebook post to LinkedIn post. I'm not exactly sure in this case, but when you tell AI to do this, it's drawing from a body of knowledge that might be bigger than yours, and it might be able to format these posts in a way that is more appropriate for that platform. Just a thought. Now to run the scenario and see what our output looks like on LinkedIn. It has finished. Let's pop over to LinkedIn. I've got Cascadia 3D up. Let's give it a refresh. Woohoo, there's the one I generated earlier, and there's the one from right then. So there's the full post, beautifully formatted and ready for my LinkedIn audience. Ta-da! This crazy little contraption, I'll be introducing you to 2 new modules, unless you've already dug in to make and discovered these modules for yourself. The first one is called the router. The router is just a traffic director that allows me to create more complex visual workflows. And then we have the most important ingredient to the magic wand, which is the text parser. What the text parser is actually doing, when I first started building these, the only way I could think of in my brain to do it was to have a separate create a completion module for OpenAI for every different post in order to have them all formatted for their respective platforms. But I found a better way to do it. Instead of using multiple OpenAI calls, I only call OpenAI once. How I've accomplished that is under task. Your job is to write an SEO-friendly Facebook post, an Instagram post, a Tumblr post, a short tweet, a Pinterest post, and a LinkedIn post in the best format, and keep the tweet 230 characters or less. Always separate them and format the separation as follows. And then as you scroll down, I've got Facebook post : Instagram post : onward down the list. And it's going to return them in that same order, which is important here in a minute. The rest of the module, pretty much identical. So let's go into the text parser and see what it's actually doing. How does it know to direct traffic? When you open the text parser, almost everything that I've configured is just default. You'll want to have global match, ignore errors, no. Pretty much everything's on the right-hand side except the first for global match. And then down at the bottom, you need to map it to this right here. It needs to be looking for the module that is returning our posts. And up at the top is where the magic happens. This right here is what grabs the post itself, and you'll see it says Facebook and Instagram. Why is that? In order to get it to return only the text section in between Facebook post and then what comes after it, Instagram post, it needs to be set up as such. Now, I didn't know that. In fact, I didn't know any of these fancy code symbols right here or what it's doing in this box. So how in the world did I get this to work? I used the AI assistant, and sorry if my head's kind of blocking it. The software I use, I have no way to move my head, unfortunately. But use their AI assistant, and what I did is I asked for what I wanted to accomplish. It gave me the text parser, and then when it wasn't working at first, I told it what was happening. Then it gave me the correct syntax for the pattern in the parser field. It asked me if I wanted it to apply that to the scenario, and when I said yes, it filled it in for me. So to show you what that looks like, check it out. I'm going to type in the question that I did yesterday, so I wasn't recording at the time. My text parser is not working. It is spitting out the same text for all modules, and I want it to separate the posts based on my text completion prompt in module 15. Let's see what it has to say. I have mapped the output modules. Here, let me move that. I have mapped the output module to OpenAI GPT-3 create completion to complete the text parsers regen X parser, basically just telling me it did something. And please run the mapped module, see if the issue is resolved. You can see it kind of changed up my module flow a bit, but doesn't really matter. When I asked it to do this last time, it essentially fixed everything for me. So that's how I did it. I imagine there are a lot of different scenarios in Make when you're going to hit a brick wall, and that's going to be the way to get you past it. Now it's time to cover the configuration of each module, and we're going to go to Facebook, and you'll see it's mostly the same. The only difference is that in the message field, instead of choosing the response directly from OpenAI, we're choosing the fallback match of the text parser. And because each of these are in their own chain, when you do this, you don't have to worry about seeing all of the text parsers and having to figure out which one is which. You just select the one, and it's only going to show you the one immediately before this module. And Tumblr is the same. Tumblr, like the rest of them so far, you just sign in, no API needed, choose your blog, choose what type, and I'm doing photo. Then for the caption, that's where I'm putting my fallback match, you'll need to select upload photo. So I believe the default is external URL. You need to select data. You'll select your file. And then you have to decide, do you want it to go out in a already published state, or do you want it to be a draft that you come back and curate later? Then we've got Pinterest. Same goes, just to sign in, no API. You'll need to select source type, image base 64, which is its way of choosing data over a URL, and the content type is JPEG. You will select your OpenAI file. Is standard, I've left that empty, which just means it passes nothing, not a yes or a no. Then down at title, you're going to need to give it a title with .jpeg. If you forget to do this, it's actually going to fail out, so heads up. I've put the fallback match here in the description. And I believe that is everything for the Pinterest module. Yep, that is everything for Pinterest. Then under X, so heads up guys, I've only got the free account with Twitter, so I can't post images. I am only uploading the text as the fallback match, so just doing a plain Jane tweet. Then I've got Dropbox. I wanted to show you guys Dropbox. There's really not much difference between using this and Google Photos. Some people prefer one or the other. And same thing goes, you just sign in, you'll select your folder, and then you're going to select your file, and the only real option you have is whether you want to overwrite it or not. That's purely a matter of how you're using this workflow. If you need disposable photos and not permanent storage, then overwriting makes sense. Then we've got LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, just like the rest of them, we need to navigate where we're going to put our message and choose the fallback match instead. Before we run this scenario, I'm going to leave you guys with a problem to solve. So there is one module in this scenario right now that will not work. What is happening, remember towards the beginning of the video, when we first set up the image generator, I told you that we had the choice between an image file or a URL. Well, most of these, they're happy with a file or a URL. Instagram is kind of the odd man out, and it will only accept a URL. It won't work with a file at all. So if I run this, it's going to break at Instagram, and the rest of it is not going to run. How would you solve this? I already kind of know what I'm going to do to solve this problem, but I want to see if you come up with the same creative solution. And before you state the most obvious solution, but Chris, can't I just have Facebook post to my Instagram for me? Yes, of course you can, but that won't give you different posts. That will give you an identical post for both platforms, and I want you to try to find a solution with Make modules. What I'm going to do now, for the purposes of just letting this flow without issues, I'm going to disconnect the Instagram part of this workflow. Everything else will be able to execute just fine. There is one module that I have not introduced you to yet, and I just wanted to throw it in as an extra, which is Dropbox. Dropbox is the same thing as most of the configurations. For Dropbox, you sign in. You don't have to enter in an API. You choose the folder that you want to publish to in your Dropbox account. You select File, and then you have the option, do you want to overwrite the previous file or no? Click OK. Now let's run this sucker and see how it goes. And it looks like it has finished, so let's check out what the output was. Let's go over to my Facebook profile, refresh. Just now, we got another fresh photo. And let's check out my Pinterest. There it is. Tumblr. Like clockwork. And let's check out my tweet. There we go. Perfecto. That concludes this tutorial. Thank you for sticking around with me to the end of the video. I hope it's helped you. I hope you find my social media magic wand useful. Don't forget you can download templates down in the description. If you're going to participate in the challenge and try to fix the broken Instagram module, please leave a comment down below and let me know what you've done. In my original Social Media Magic Wand video, I issued a challenge. I was having an issue where the Instagram module was only happy with a URL image, but every other module was set up for a file. How would you solve this? Well, today I want to show you how I solved it, and then I want to show you a couple other different possible ways you can solve it. My favorite way to fix this scenario is by using an HTTP module. To do that, I'm going to right-click, Add Module. I'm going to select HTTP, search for it if you don't see it. Once you grab it, HTTP, get a file, and connect. And then I'm going to drop that in, drop it right in right here. Really, it needs to be anywhere in between generate an image and the router, which forks out to the rest of your posts. So we've got it right here. Now I'm going to click down and we need to map to the URL output of generate an image, but notice how data doesn't have a URL right here. If you've never run the sequence returning a URL, you're not going to be able to map to what you need immediately, so just select anything to get it to shut up. And what we're going to do, I'm going to unlink these, and we are going to run this once after changing our response format. So I'm going to make sure I have URL selected. Now I'm going to run this, and that will allow me to return a URL, and then I can map the URL that I need in my HTTP module. There we go. I've returned, really only needed to finish that one, so I'd return the image URL. And now I should be able to map where I need to. Erase my placeholder, crap, data, and URL. And now I can map to the URL. This is now going to grab the image from the returned URL, return it as a file, and hold it until my modules are ready for it. Because we have switched this to a URL format, I'm good to connect the Instagram modules again. And then I just need to map to the URL output data URL. And now I'm good to go. Instagram is happy, but the rest of my modules still referencing the output file that they will no longer be receiving from OpenAI. We need to map all of these now to HTTP. So we're going to go through one by one and select the HTTP module. Going over to my Twitter. Oh, I'm going to fix that here too. I'm going to add a module. We are going to add Twitter. And instead of V6, we choose V5. And then you'll see upload a media. So I'm going to upload a media, click add attachments, and just like the rest of the modules, I'm going to grab it from the HTTP module. We're going to connect those two. Then under media IDs in my Twitter post module, I'm going to map to my media ID from the upload a media module I just created. Now Twitter is happy. I'm going to go to Dropbox, select HTTP, go to LinkedIn, and I'm going to do the same. There we go. Well, it's telling me value must not be empty. Oh, I didn't save my Twitter. Got to open that, click OK, save. And now it's ready to run, and it is fixed and will blast to all platforms. Now let's look at another way to possibly fix the wand. And in this one, I'm accomplishing the very same task with a different module. You can see it looks a little bit different. Instead of using my HTTP, I have put my Facebook and Instagram on the same leg of my process. I have included both of their text parsers, respectively. So I've got the one that's returning the Facebook post and then the one that's returning the Instagram post. This is a little deceptive when you first look at it because you think, hey, if this is filtering the content, then how is this going to get what it needs to anyway? Well, they're both actually drawing from right here. So there's actually an invisible pathway on each of my text parsers. They are both referencing the output of this module. So it's not like it's literally having to flow through. A lot of what we're viewing here with the process chart is both order of operation and for our own visuals. Right here, the text parsers will be just fine. They're both going to be pulling from the text completion that gives us our social media post. But then Facebook, I've added an additional module. Let me zoom in, get a photo. So as soon as we upload the photo, get a photo is going to return the URL, and that will be uploading via grabbing the file, and then once we upload that photo, we return a URL, and on Instagram, I am mapping the URL that is returned from Facebook pages get a photo. What is the ultimate difference? Actually, none. There's two ways to skin a cat. I could have done the same thing with several of these modules if I wanted to. Really, it's just a matter of keeping it neat for your own organizational flow and what logically makes sense in processing sequences. So that fixes the scenario. And the next video in this series is going to be about how to connect my magic wand to my print-on-demand automation scenarios. Heidi-ho, Automatorinos. Today's lesson is all about connecting the social media magic wand to your Ecom shop so that you can automate your new product postings. Go ahead and log into your Make account. And if you don't have one, you can sign up using the link below. If you haven't seen my previous video about the social media magic wand, you might need to watch that to actually be up to speed on what's going on here. What I'm doing today, we are going to connect your Ecom store to the social media magic wand so that every time a new product is published, it will blast it out to your social media channels. To do that, I'm going to copy and paste most of the magic wand and get rid of most of it. And I'm doing this just to create a separate workflow with it. I'm going to hold the Shift key, then I drag, and now I have all of those modules selected, and I can right-click any one of them, copy modules, and now we are going to create a new scenario. Once you've got your new scenario created, paste your modules. That puts the magic wand down, and now we have to connect it to the module responsible for returning our new products. One of the first questions that I received after I made the Magic Wand video was how to apply it to the products on your Ecom store or to your print on demand. Instead of connecting my Magic Wand to the end of that process, there's a much easier way to do it. When you add a starter module, different platforms will have a watch. And watch is something that you can only do on a starter module. It's meant to be the original input to trigger the entire workflow. So we're going to do Shopify, and I'm going to search for watch. And what I want to do is watch products. This is going to watch my product feed. Let me select the store that I want to watch. And I'm going to leave everything blank because all I really want to do here is return the one most recent product that was just published. So I'm going to say active, published, and I'm going to limit to 1 and click OK. Then we get right here, we're hit immediately with do you want to go from now on, since a specific date, which allows you to go retroactive a little bit or set it in the future, or all or choose manually. For what we're going to use this for, if you're wanting it to publish new products when they get published to your store, you will select from now on. That tells the process, okay, from this timestamp right here, like literally right now, anything published after that is going to feed through this pipeline and dump to all my social channels. So I'm going to click OK, and that's it. Now I'm going to connect it. Once I've connected it, we're not done. We have to modify some of these modules so that it's actually going to do what we want. We now have a module that's set to look for new products. We can schedule it to run at regular intervals. On my website, I publish new products once a day, so I actually set this only to run once every 24 hours. But if you're publishing new products every hour, you can set it accordingly and it will watch for new products on that schedule. The way I've just set this module up, once it returns that product once and blasts it out to your social media, it's not going to return that product again. I also want everyone to be aware that though this lesson is showing you Shopify, pretty much this is going to work for any major platform that has a module built in to make. So whether that is Wix, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Squarespace, etc., as long as you're setting that module up as the entry, the beginning module, the scheduler module, you will usually have an option to watch product. Now let's run through the configuration of each module. As usual, when you copy-paste the social magic wand, you're going to have to do some remapping to get it to work properly. HTTP is mapping the image return from watch a product. Click there, drill under images, and then we have source. How do I know that? Just from experience, wherever you see SRC, it's typically going to return a URL, and in this case it returns the product image. Then we have our chat completion that's generating our social media posts. And there's really not a whole lot different here, except I've based the content descriptor, where I say your content will be describing the photograph in this product description, and it's basing it on body HTML, which, just so you know, that is the product description on Shopify. Click OK. And then we have our Facebook module. This one we're using a slightly different module. So when I zoom in, I'm using create a post. This is not upload a photo or create an image post. This is just create a post. And the reason I've chosen to do this, our third field is link. And when you post a link on Facebook, it automatically pulls the image. That's just something about the platform. It pulls the thumbnail if it exists, and in this case it does. So the way you can have this process grab the URL, you have to manually enter the first part of it. So for you, that might be your domain name. In the case of my example shop I'm running right here, it's just my subdomain.myshopify.com/products, and then I mapped to the handle that comes out of the watch product module. So right here, under my mapping, under watch products, handle. Now the handle is only this page that it's actually sitting on. So usually that's just the name of the product with a bunch of slashes on this platform. It will be different for each platform, but the handle will be the same. You will have to manually supply the first part of the URL, and then the handle will grab the specific page for the product. That's how you format it to get this to work. Click OK, and then we're going to go to Instagram, and the same is true. For the photo URL, we're going to do the same thing that we did for HTTP. We are going to map to the image source. So under watch products, drill under image, and then source. That pulls the image from the URL. Now Shopify is happy. For our caption, I'm using my fallback match, which grabs my social media post set for Instagram. And then I'm providing my link right here, which will post the link underneath it. Instagram doesn't have clickable links, but I still like to provide it. Then we have Tumblr. Tumblr, I'm using my fallback match as the caption, and again, under the link, same format. And then I'm supplying my photo, external URL, and again, referencing the image that is coming out of watch products. Basically, all of these are going to be some variation of repeating. So image URL, same, mapping there. You have to define an actual title here. And so that's one thing that'll get a lot of people snagged with Pinterest, is it'll error out, but you actually have to supply a title, which you can either generate with another chat module if you want to, or in this case, I'm just using generic images, which load into the system as a sequential image, like image better futures -1, -2, that kind of thing. Doesn't bother me. Description, fallback match, okay. Then we've got Twitter. So, I mean, do you really need me to walk through each one of these? They're all basically set up the same, but the difference being, of course, if you want to add your URL, you format it as such. and you can grab the title. You know what? I can change that back over there, and I might do that. So let's check it out. Where it has title and body HTML, this is grabbing the product description. This is grabbing the product title, both from Watch Products. I'm going to backtrack up to Pinterest, and let's see. Instead of this title, maybe I'm going to grab this title. So I'm going to grab Watch Products title, but I'm pretty sure I still have to title it .jpeg or that'll error out. We'll find out here in a second. All right. LinkedIn, do the same. So now we are ready to run this process. Let's take this scenario for a spin. Click run, and there we go. Notice what happened. It went through the Shopify module, but then just stopped. It didn't process any of the rest of my modules, and the reason for that, in between the time that it took to set this up and when I just hit run, no new products have been published to my store. So if no new products have been published, it has nothing to push to my social media platforms. I have to go over to my print-on-demand workflow, crank out another product, and then we'll have something to pick up here. So let's go do that real quick. All over print hoodie. Give that a run. Generate a new hoodie. Sweet, published a new hoodie. And let's go back into the other workflow. Now I should be able to trigger this scenario and it should execute because it has a new product to grab. See? Now it's moving right along in the process. It's grabbed the images from Shopify and it is now distributing my product image post to all of my platforms. Or this post is going to end up in a clickable product link, rather. Bam. Pinterest. Executing LinkedIn. Oh, you know what? Cool. It almost went through Twitter. Looks like, I think it is exceeded the length on my Twitter posts because I have a free Twitter account. You might have also noticed when that was running that these two legs of my scenario executed out of order. The reason that happened, last week I was in Twitter jail, so I disconnected this leg, and now that I've reconnected it, it is now the last series that I connected. So if you don't already know this, and it took me a few months of using Make until I figured this out, it runs your process tree in the order in which you connected the branches. So if you've created a scenario in some kind of logical order, and then later on you have a reason to say move modules around or reconfigure them, and then you connect them again, you'll find that when you run your scenario, it's running in all sorts of crazy orders. And the way you would want to correct that is you have to unlink it and relink them in the series as you want them to run. So if I wanted this to run with my Twitter leg running first before LinkedIn, I would need to unlink each of these, unlink that, and then I would relink them in the order that I want them to execute. Honestly, it really doesn't matter for this process which order these execute, so unless I'm just really OCD, there's no functional reason to change this particular scenario. Ha! I just published to the wrong Facebook page. Let's check that out. Yeah, I meant to publish to my hoodie shop, but I published to the future city thing that I made the other day. And I kind of did that in Instagram just because I don't have a motherfunker channel for my my hoodie for my all over print shop. So yeah, let me go back over to Facebook and we will go back over to Imagine Better Futures. And there's the hoodie post. Cool, cool. And we have Instagram, we have Pinterest, and we have LinkedIn. Clickable links to my test store. That's it for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe if you enjoy my content and it's helped you. I hope this can help you 10x your profits by blasting all your new products to all platforms at once. As usual, I've got templates down below if you don't want to have to walk through the configuration manually. I have prepared a statement. Dear Elon, I know you are trying to control the bot activity on your platform, and some of those Twitter troll bots can be very, very annoying. I apologize in advance for enabling anyone with a spare 5 minutes to deploy their own personal private army of Twitter bots. I hope in time you will find a way to forgive me. Sincerely, your biggest fan, Chris. You'll need to sign into your Make account, and for those of you who might just now be joining me on this channel, I use Make a lot in a lot of my integrations and automations. Thank you for using the link down below in the description. If you do, I get a kickback. It helps me keep making these videos. Go ahead into your scenarios and create a new scenario or start from a template. I have a downloadable template down below. Today I'm going to start with a more simple tweeter that will tweet both images and text. And thank you to C. King Bay for cluing me in on how to accomplish this. I didn't know that you could switch the API up in the corner of the module. Turns out it was not a limitation on my free account with Twitter. It was just the fact that I was using the API that does not include uploading a media, which is how you get your images into Twitter. So let's give it a start. The first module you will want to select, if you're building it from scratch, is create a chat completion with OpenAI. And as I usually explain, if you do not already have an account with them, you would have to create one at platform.openai.com, and you will then have to retrieve your API key and your organization ID. That will establish your connection. I explain that in other videos, and actually I think I'm going to start from scratch. Here in a few weeks, I'm going to start working on a 101 Make tutorial course, just because I get a lot of questions sometimes. I'll be blowing and going and assuming you guys just kind of know from previous videos, but with each new video as a growing channel, I'm potentially seeing totally new eyes, and I'm aware this can be more complex than it needs to be. So be looking out for my 101 series here in a few weeks. So you will create a text completion. Look for your OpenAI module, select your OpenAI module. We will be using a chat completion. The model that I recommend is GPT-4o or GPT-4 Turbo. Those are a little bit better for the workflow that I'm about to show you coming up later, where we're going to blast to multiple Twitter accounts. This simple one you can get by possibly with 3.5, and I'm going to set it that way just to save myself a little money, because 3.5 Turbo is cheaper just for me running this example. And you will choose Role Assistant, and it's all about the prompts. If anybody has been paying attention to my videos so far, the output that you're going to get from OpenAI is 100% ruled by how creative you can be when prompting your chat assistant. So here is an example of how I craft a Twitter post. Role: you are a social media manager creating engaging posts for Twitter. Your job is to create interesting tweets that compel readers to comment. You may ask provocative questions, yes/no surveys, and use other engaging creative ways to encourage interaction and commenting without directly asking for comments or likes. Make your tweets interesting. Task: create a tweet about automating your online business with AI. It must be 250 characters or less, including hashtags. And as I've said before, I'm rolling on a free account. That's just a limitation of a free account. If you have paid Twitter accounts, that is not an issue at all. Do not use and, use and instead. For the hashtags, or do not use ampersand, use and instead. For the hashtags, they need to be separated by spaces, no commas, no bullets, no numbers. Scroll down. I'm doing a max of 270 tokens only for this one single tweet blaster that I'm making right here. Later on, we will increase that. This controls how many characters are going to be returned in the output. As usual, temperature, top, and number are all set to 1. You only want to go above 1 on temperature if you want your bot to say wild, crazy things that have nothing to do with what you asked for it, frankly. So click OK. That is our tweet being generated. The next module coming up is our image generator. I use Dolly 3 now. It's pretty much the only one I use. 2, you'll get variations in output, but it's a little bit less expensive. Prompt. Generate a ridiculous image that makes people think of something. Generate a ridiculous image that makes people think something is wrong with the person who posted it. Make the image relate to, and then I make it relate to this content generated by this tweet. You can select your size. I'm going to keep it square, but you can also go with vertical or horizontal. Quality standard. I'm going to keep it standard instead of HD, but that's totally up to you. Style vivid, and response format image file. Then we're going to go to our Twitter. First, we will need to go to upload a media, and this is what I couldn't find yesterday. And the reason I couldn't find it, let's act like we're adding a new module. When you go to select Twitter, and you see these options, up in the very corner we have the option to change the API. And I was on V6, which has nothing about uploading a media or an image. Switch to V5, and there we go. Upload a media, create a post. So what's interesting about this, the create a post is not working for me for the V5. And the message I'm getting down here makes it sound like it is a limitation on a free account. The operation failed with error. You currently have access to a subset of Twitter API v2 endpoints and limited v1.1 endpoints. In any case, I've overcome this by using 2 different APIs. So I'm uploading a media with the V5, and then I'm creating my post with V6. So go figure. You might not have to do that, but that's how all my templates are built. Heads up. Assuming you have a premium account, here's what it would look like configuring the Create a Post module. It will be able to include both your message return from your chat completion and upload an image. Select OpenAI, scroll down. Attached images contain sensitive content. No, unless you're posting sensitive content. And display post coordinates, a very interesting option. I elect no. I don't want my coordinates on it, but you know, I guess you might have a reason for that. Click OK. That's how you would attempt to set up just a single module version of this. So let me know down in the comments if this works for you. I might upgrade to a paid Twitter account if I really like the way this is going. So time will tell. So we've uploaded a media, upload image or GIF. You have an option for a video too, but I'm not outputting video today. Kind of want to work with that in the future. I'm going to find a way to do it. Select your file, and it'll choose the module automatically for OpenAI. And then we've got our create a post. So before, what I was lacking were the media IDs that come from the module right before where we uploaded a media. That was it. So for my text content, I am grabbing the returned text from our original tweet where we generate the tweet in the first chat completion. And then for my media IDs, I have selected media ID, and that placed that right there. Allow post exclusively for super followers. Really have no idea how to use that personally, but I leave it empty so it just doesn't pass anything through. Click OK, and here we go. A simple auto tweeter. Let me give it a save, and I'm going to run this. There we go. Process complete. Let's give a little refresh on my tweet account. There we go. Imagine the possibilities of automating your online business with AI. And this is 11 seconds ago. And here's some of the ones from earlier today when I was testing. There you go. Simple auto tweeter. Download the template down in the instructions. So now let's move on to bigger and better tweeters. First up will be the AI Auto Tweet Squadron. And I'm calling it a squadron because it's a handful. I've made this to post to 7 different Twitter accounts. And the way I've done that is very similar to what I did with my social media magic wand that I showed you in my last video. If we take a look at what's actually going on under the hood, I've got a router that's directing traffic, and then I have text parsers that are separating out little bits of labeled text so that I can use one chat completion to create all of these tweets, and then these parsers grab only the chunk appropriate for that account. And the order of operations here goes generate the tweet body, send it out to the different channels. Then I use the generated tweet and its context to generate an image with Dolly 3. Right here, Dolly 3 is configured identically in each one. The prompt just says create a vibrant, colorful image based on, and then it gives my fallback match. So I'm actually using the text to create the image so that the image is created in context of what we're tweeting about, and then it sends it out to the Twitter account. So that you understand the logic behind what's actually going on here, let's take a peek at my prompt again. Notice how I have automated life, then I have a prompt, then I have bot life, then I have a prompt. When I was first describing this, I mentioned that it was a specific ordered list, and that is because that is true. When this gives me a response, it's going to give me back my prompts in the exact same order that I asked for it right here. And that's important because the text parser, what it's actually doing, you can ignore all the code symbols that are inside of it. All you need to do is replace the text with your account names. So if we look at automated life, bot life, right here, those two, automated life, then I've got a prompt, and it's sitting in between automated life and bot life, the prompt that I'm using to generate my tweet. So if we look at the text parser, what is this saying? It's saying grab all of the returned text that exists in between automated life and bot life, which means it is only going to grab the returned tweet for automated life. And then it does the same thing in a series. So the next text parser is going to start with bot life and end on marketing power glove, and it's going to return the tweet for bot life as a result. Get the logic? Do you understand what's going on? Each one of these just goes down the line, grabbing the text that's in between the two identifiers. And that's it. That's the magic to how the text parser is doing what it's doing. In order for this to function as a squadron of 7 automatically tweeting Twitter accounts, you would actually have to set up a different Twitter account. So for this workflow, if you need 7 of them, you'd have to have 7 accounts, 7 developer accounts. And for each one of these, you're going to have to establish a new connection in Make based on the API key for that particular account. If we scroll down, I've got 2,000 tokens, and I'm using pretty much as many of them as it will spit out at me. Let's see what I'm telling it to do. So for the role, I've selected Assistant, as usual. The first paragraph is mostly the same, but where this prompt completely turns in a different direction is towards the bottom. I want you to compose 7 different tweets, all for different Twitter accounts, all with different subject content as follows. And I give 7 completely different prompts. And the way I've separated them is by using the assumed name of my Twitter account or something like that, and then I give it the content. So for the first one, I've got Automated Life, which will be a tweet about automating your online businesses with AI. Then I've got a Bot Life tweet, which will be about crypto bots. Marketing Power Glove, which will be about leveling up your marketing skills. Underpants, which will be about stylish underwear. Thanks Obama, which will be a smart-ass tweet blaming Obama for something he clearly didn't do and making it as ridiculous as possible. Then I'll have a channel called Give Me Strength, create an inspirational tweet about overcoming challenges, adversity, and staying positive. You can reference famous quotes, providing your own spin on them, or you can just post famous motivational quotes. Rootin' for Putin, make a tweet about shirtless Vladimir Putin and make it as ridiculous as possible. And you'll notice in all of my tweets at the end, I say the tweet must be 250 characters or less. If you are using paid accounts, you can remove that last little bit from each prompt. You will not be limited in how many characters you can post. Let's take the squadron out for their first tour of duty, shall we? Let me hit run. And I only have one Twitter account, so what's actually going to happen here is it's just going to post to my Twitter account 7 times. If you wanted this to be 7 accounts, you would have to do what I described before and actually set all of that up. Oh no, I hit a safety system rejection. Which one did that happen on? Thanks, Obama. So I guess they might have made it to where you can't make images about Obama. Lament. But yeah, let's check out my Twitter account and see what it posted so far, and then you can assume that had it finished, it would have dumped all 7 of them. Boom, life's too short for boring underpants. Which color brightens your day? Is your marketing strategy on autopilot? And then we have a nice little rocket ship. Ever thought your crypto wallet could work while you sleep? Cryptocurrency trading bots might just be the future of passive income. There we go, boys. And now let's take it to the final completion, what I am calling the AI Auto Tweet Blast Wave Battalion. All it really is a series of copied and pasted squadrons. And the way they are connected, the very last module dumps right into a new text completion, then into a new router. And they are daisy chained. So this will blast to 7 accounts at a time in waves, or you can blast to as many accounts as you can create and configure and then connect in a series. They are broken up in a series like this because of the 4,000 character limit in your OpenAI chat completions. If you want to have even longer tweets, like let's say you want each tweet to be about 2,000 characters, then you would actually need to back that off into just 2 modules. So it's all about how long do you want the tweet to be. For me, I wanted them to be about 270 characters because I'm rolling on a free account. And then if you stack that up, just kind of divide, 4,000 is the total returned output that you can get. How many tweets and what length can you get out of 4,000 characters? And that's how you break it up and then copy paste your squadrons accordingly. There we go. I've just given you the tools and the templates to create your own personal auto-tweeting bot army. Go forth, my minions, and rig elections. I'm just kidding. I hope everyone has a great weekend. I hope you've gotten a lot from this video. If you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Onward and upward.